Welcome everyone, this is Dr. Saila. Today I am going to show you the superfood sauerkraut. In the olden days, fermentation was one of the few techniques used for preservation. The modern methods ignored the health benefits of fermentation. Fermentation is an art. It involves time and labor. Yogurt you buy in the supermarkets, it's nothing but a glorified pudding. It's loaded with high fructose corn syrup. So I highly encourage that you should make all the fermented food at home. Even the pickles you buy in the stores are vinegar fermented pickles. They're not lacto fermented pickles. I have all the ingredients here to make sauerkraut. All you need is cabbage and sea salt. I'm using Celtic sea salt. It is sun-dried sea salt. I use this for all my fermentation and of course for all the cooking. And there are two kinds of cabbage that I have here today, red and green cabbage. You can make it either with red cabbage or green cabbage, but when you mix these two colors, sauerkraut color is nice and pink, and of course the purple cabbage has a lot more benefits than the green cabbage. So I always use both purple and green cabbages for my sauerkraut. And I have caraway seeds here. It's an optional ingredient. I'll take the top layer off. I'm going to use this layer later in the process of fermentation. I'll show you later. And cabbage belongs to the cruciferous family of vegetables. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, kale, all these belong to the cruciferous family. They all are rich in antioxidants, vitamins and excellent fiber. The vegetables that are already so nutrient dense, when they are fermented, they become a superfood. Cabbage contains substances called glucosinolates. When you ferment, these substances are decomposed into isothiocyanates, which are very good cancer fighting substances. So fermented cabbage is much more nutritious than raw cabbage. You can actually chop this into small pieces, or you can chop it into strands. But I don't like to do this in the food processor, because I like the texture better when I chop it. And you can ingest huge amounts of nutrients, but unless you absorb them, they're useless to you. So when you incorporate things like sauerkraut, the food that you eat with the sauerkraut will be absorbed better and assimilated better because of all the enzymes that you have in the sauerkraut. So I'm adding it to the bowl here. And this is the measurement of salt for the sauerkraut. I have about 1 pound of cut cabbage here, mixed green and purple cabbage. For 1 pound cabbage, you need about 3/4 tablespoon of sea salt. So I'm adding sea salt here, about 3/4 tablespoons. And this is the most important step in the sauerkraut making. So when you add the salt, don't massage it right away. You have to keep it aside for at least 2 hours before you start massaging. So I'm going to keep this aside for 2 hours, and then we will start massaging to get more water out of the cabbage. And again, one more thing, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of caraway seeds, just for a hint of flavor. And when you add caraway seeds, you don't need to add too much salt for the sauerkraut. I have the cabbage here that has been there for 2 hours. Now it's wilted. You need to massage this cabbage. And remember one thing, when you use the salt, don't use the iodized salt, because you don't want to use iodized salt for any fermentation. And there was a study done in Poland actually on sauerkraut. It showed that the women who immigrated to United States had much higher incidence of breast cancer, because the women in Poland eat lots of sauerkraut, but once they migrate to Western countries, they don't eat that much sauerkraut. And there's lots of other studies done on the health benefits of sauerkraut, and they all showed that sauerkraut is very, very beneficial, and it has got cancer fighting properties. And the salt is basically to draw the moisture out of the cabbage. You need to get this brine out of the cabbage, because the cabbage needs to be submerged in the brine when you put it in the bottle. so you have to extract it. But after 2 hours of wilting, it's much easier to extract the liquid from the cabbage. In normal scheme of things, we don't have to worry about replenishing the bacteria, but in this toxic world, we drink chlorinated water, use pesticides and preservatives, take antibiotics, and the animals that we eat are given antibiotics. So we are using much more bacteria. So it is exceeding our body's capacity to replenish the bacteria. That's why it is so important nowadays to take some fermented food with every meal to replenish this bacteria, and it helps a lot for your digestion. See, I've got lots of brine, and I'm putting it in the bottle. So you need to tamp it down as you place this in the container. You see the brine, I added a little bit of the cabbage brine from the previous sauerkraut I made, which helps with the fermentation process. Close this cabbage with a leaf that I saved before, and then I'm going to put some clean glass weight on this to press the water down, so cabbage is submerged in its own brine. So you want to press this one at least 2 or 3 times a day for the first 2 days. For some reason, if you didn't get enough water in the cabbage, you can add half tablespoon of salt to half cup of water and dissolve it and then add it to the bottle. So the cabbage is submerged in the salty water. Keep it in a visible place on your kitchen counter, so you can press it down to bring the water out every so often. It took me about 5 days in summertime. It depends on the ambient temperature. In winter, it could take at least 10 days, I think, to get the sauerkraut. Once it is all done, you can keep it in the refrigerator. The sauerkraut has very precious enzymes and lactobacilli. If you wash it, you're losing all these excellent probiotics. So you should not cook the sauerkraut, of course. Don't cook, don't wash, and don't freeze it. Mostly the sour taste to this cabbage comes from the acids you find it in the sauerkraut. Not all the sour taste is from the salt. So the risk of consuming the small amounts of salt in the sauerkraut does not outweigh the benefits of fermentation that you get with the sauerkraut. If you are on a salt restricted diet, just add little more brine from the previous batch and you can cut down on the salt. But you should not really avoid the sauerkraut because it has got so many health benefits. I'll see you in my next video. Happy krauting until then. Thank you.